Good afternoon everybody. In this episode I make loads of progress on the workbench. I go to a new sawmill, which was absolutely amazing, and I have some very good news that I want to share with you. Not all of which I can actually say at this point, but I can give you little snippets nonetheless. So that's coming right up. Okay, so for these videos, I've actually started writing a small storyboard so I can actually stick to subject without going off on complete tangents like I already am now. To start with, I just want to, I've heard a few things from other people saying that this series is a little bit rambly, I talk a bit too much in it and not enough about the project. Just a small reminder, this part of the series, however long it takes until the project is finished, is literally just me documenting the progress as I go. It's not teaching you how to make the workbench, it's not telling you how I did processes in depth, it's not tutorials, it's simply just saying I did this week, did this week, did this week, and then it means that you have the opportunity to jump in and say, Matt, you're about to cock up, stop, do it this way instead. So that's kind of the reasoning behind this live format of it. Once I get to the end, it will be a tutorial, it will be a build along. If you want to build a workbench exactly like mine, if you want to be that stupid and you want to do your back in, you want to spend loads of money, crack on. I mean, if you want to build something similar, then it will be a build along series. You can see how I did the joints and you can scale it to your liking essentially. So yeah, I'm sorry about all the talking for the moment. I know these videos might be a little bit bland, but it's something that I definitely want to improve on in the future. In fact, I've just recently bought 2 books about photography and I want to basically increase the production value of all these videos as well. So I increase the amount of B-roll in them and just make them generally enjoyable to watch. I hesitate to call them vlogs because I don't want this to become a vlogging channel. But in essence, that's what these live format videos are going to be. It will still be relevant to furniture making. It's not going to be me out in a club dancing to Night Fever. Night Fever. But yeah, simply just an experiment at this point. Build along will be coming in the next few weeks. But anyway, back to the script. Last week's question, drilling dog holes through 5 inches of timber. How do you do it? How can you get them straight? How do you get them to not break out on the underside? How do you get them looking nice? How do you do it? That was what I asked you and I got some very good responses for that, so thank you very much for everyone who responded. So basically by the time I uploaded that video I'd already augured the I was about to say I've already augured the order. I've already ordered the auger for that week, so it was already on the way so I could actually try it out in the workbench. And these auger bits were from Woodworker, which as far as I'm aware is a company in the US, and they're recommended to me by a friend back in Basingstoke, and it was a good recommendation, very good recommendation, thank you Ryan. But essentially by the time I started getting these replies in for how to drill the holes, I'd already done a few testers. So as a quick reminder, the way I was thinking about doing this was to drill about that far into the workbench with a 3/4 inch Forstner bit, then get a beam drill which is a lot longer, drill through the remaining part of the workbench in the centre of that Forstner bit hole. So essentially I've got a hole that's 19mm tapering down to 12mm going all the way through. And what this meant is that I could then put the auger bit in the drill press, which is something you should never do because they have a screw thread on the end. But the fact that I had had that small clearance hole down the middle meant that that screw thread could not engage in any material. So essentially it acted like a very wide drill bit. Like literally the breakout on the holes was as good as the entry hole, which is pretty astounding considering I used fish Forstner bits, the wave cutters for the entry hole. And breakout holes are never usually pretty, but seriously, if you need to buy an auger bit, have a look at Woodworker auger bits. I'll put a link in the description. It's TF Tools that supply them. Very, very good, very good. But yeah, anyway, thank you for the suggestions that you guys gave me. I'm sorry that I kind of jumped the gun a bit and just started experimenting without reading a lot of your comments, but it was very difficult to beat that result, very difficult. I even cut one of the testers open and measured it for square and it was spot on, really good. So yeah, thank you, but there's no beating that, I'm sorry. So with that dog hole layer all complete, I could start sticking the remaining layers onto the side of the slabs that I had last week and shove that whole assembly through the sander. This was amazing. It was so satisfying to see it coming out the other end because the slabs were absolutely caked in glue where I wasn't very controlled with my glue application, should we say, in the first few gluing ups that I did. And yeah, it was caked and I was trying to get it flat with a hand plane and scrapers and it just wasn't working. So put it through the sander, faultless, all the joints like you can't see any glue, there is no hairline cracks, so it's definitely worth slightly hollowing those joints with the plane first so I could get the edges closed up, because it is faultless. I was getting all of this sanding done quite late in the evening, just before the workshop closed, and I actually managed to break the belt on the sander, which was interesting. I was supporting the weight of the workbench on the outfeed table, so I couldn't see anything that was happening around the other side, and all of a sudden I just started hearing this really loud like clapping sound, like, and it was like, okay, this doesn't sound good. And sort of looked around the side of the sander, I could just see all this sandpaper like spitting out the front. I was like, oh, okay. So like 50 kilo workbench component in my hand, and I was just like, okay, what do I do? Just like get it out and like run around to the side, pop it on the table by the side of the sander, run around, switch it off, and like, whew, okay, no more sanding for me today. Then I had to wait until the morning to get the remaining sanding done, which was a shame. And I think later that evening I was cutting the supports between the front and back legs for the workbench top, and I managed to cut those 50mm too short as well. I have no idea how I managed to do it. They were meant to be 550 and I cut them to 500. So, I mean, I was only 1.5 short, I suppose. I also went to a new sawmill this week. Annoyingly, I lost my footage of it. The only stuff I have is stuff on the GoPro of where I was driving there, and I thought I'd make a nice montage of my trip down to this sawmill. So I put this on the dashboard, as I did in the walnut desk video when I went to Surrey Timbers. I was just filming myself going through the countryside and stuff, and I've only got footage on this. I've got none of the actual sawmill itself. Now, the sawmill I went to was English Woodlands Timber. The sawmill is awesome. So they have a self-selection centre there, which is amazing for hobbyists, because, you know, if you're just doing small projects, you don't necessarily want to buy a whole 3 metre length of wood just for making a small stool, or just, I don't know, a windowsill or something like that. I don't know what hobbyists do. But yeah, having a self-selection centre is really good, because I remember my first trip to a sawmill, and with everyone else as well, it's really intimidating because you don't know how it works. It doesn't work like a normal shop. You essentially have to pick up boards and then you get told the price at the end of it without having any labels on them. A self-selection centre, everything is labelled, so it is literally like a shop. It's second nature going there. So that was really nice. It was good to see that they were able to provide that for people who go there, and also cater for people like myself who need larger sections of boards. Now, I've heard from numerous sources that this was the place, or this is the place to go if you want really good quality walnut. And my God, are they right, they had a massive selection. Now, I'm lacking material for the end cap on the workbench, which I wanted to be out of solid walnut. I didn't want to laminate layers together because you would see it on the end grain. I wanted one solid 3-inch section. So I thought, that's the place to go for walnut. I haven't been there before. Quite fancy a drive. Let's go. But yeah, I had a quick look through the self-selection centre to see if there was, on the off chance that there was a 3-inch thick slab of walnut this long. Probably hoping for a bit too much there, but essentially do you know what, I'm just going to go show you. Let's take the GoPro. So yeah, of the amazing news that I've had this week, this is one of them. The others are, they've been pitched to me, but I still need to kind of work out what I need to do in order to make them happen. So this is the only one that I can sort of say at this point. Now, this was a complete surprise to me. Furniture and Cabinet Making have recently started a social media section where they kind of recommend people who are worth following, and I don't want to make it sound vain. Basically, in their words, we bring together the best furniture and woodworking related content from social media. And I was speaking to my mum at this point, saying, I was flicking through it like this. I was like, yeah, there's a section in here where I'm going to basically email Derek Jones and just see if I can get him to feature my woodworking channel in it. Flicking through, look down to see who was in the YouTube section, and it's me, look. It was so cool. I was well happy. And what I really like about this is how it was screenshotted before my mug appeared as the channel intro on there, so it's not vandalising the page, scaring you all away. If any of you found me through this article in this magazine, let me know in the comments, because it'd be cool to see where it's all come from and who's appeared as a result of this, because it's just amazing. It's so cool. I'm so happy. But yeah, so that was one part of the absolutely amazing news that I got this week. The other parts, I can't say anything at this point because nothing's set in stone. I mean, I could try and fudge it, but I'd rather give you actual fact about what's happening. So hopefully I can get some more news on that in the next few weeks. I just need to do a bit more organisation on my part and get the ball rolling a bit more. So yeah, that is it for this episode. Thank you very much for watching. Not entirely sure what I'm going to be doing in the next week. I'm pretty sure it's going to be Mortison tenon the legs and stretchers together, but I'll just be speculating at this point. So best bet with that, if you want to get involved with the live format of this whole series, follow me on Instagram. I'll put the thingy below now, the handle or whatever it's called. Give me pointers, give me your experience, give me any mistakes you may have made in the past. Tell me that you came from YouTube as well. It'd be quite cool to see if where the traffic's actually coming from. Yeah, just let me know if you do happen to follow me on there, and I will say hello. And on that rather untimely hello, I will see you in the next video. See you then.